Wanted to kick off today's NFL Daily episode with news that Von Miller, NFL superstar for the Broncos, obviously the outside linebacker, has tested positive for the Big C. His agent does say that he is in good spirits and that he is resting. Just wanted to inform you guys of this news before we get into our trade rumors mailbag. We're talking about one of the best players in the NFL. Sure didn't have as productive of a season last year with just 8 sacks, but you're looking at a future Hall of Famer here. Obviously, a Rams player tested positive just last night as well, or that news broke last night. 3 players in the NFL have confirmed positive for the Big C, so it's starting to infiltrate the National Football League as well. So I want to encourage you guys to make sure that you are washing your hands. Have you washed your hands today? If you have, type Y for yes. If you haven't, type in, and then please go wash your hands and wipe down your keyboard. So type Y for yes, type in for no. Let me know down in the comments section. All right, guys, a lot of you guys submitted your trade proposals. I promised you guys I would get to them today. Don't worry. We wanted to get that news out of the way early so we could get to your trade proposals. So we're going to kick things off here with Niners Superfans trade, an Odell Beckham trade proposal here. Niners get OBJ, and the Browns get their the 49ers' second first-round pick, number 31 overall, and Marquise Goodwin. You Niners fans think Marquise Goodwin has a lot of trade value. I'm not sure that he does, but overall, I actually don't mind this trade proposal. I think a low first-round pick is about what Beckham is worth these days. He's not worth a premium pick. Now, there was the report from yesterday that the Browns and Vikings could be working on a deal for a contract. The Browns, one of their front office members completely disputed that today, saying that was completely false. Who knows if that just means the trade fell through. We all know how that works. Doesn't mean they won't trade him. Doesn't mean he won't be traded. I think the big question is, can they get a first-round pick for Odell Beckham Jr.? He wasn't great last year. He was good, but is this a first-round pick? Maybe a low first-round pick like Niner Super Trades trade proposal was, but only 4 touchdowns, not exactly what you're looking for. We do know this. The 49ers need a wide receiver. They need a number 1. Deebo Samuel, solid player. He's not a number 1 wide receiver, at least not yet. Kendrick Bourne showed some flashes last year. Jalen Hurd, haven't seen him play yet. Marquise Goodwin didn't do much last year. Dante Pettis is still in the doghouse. So we know the 49ers need a wide receiver. They're probably going to draft one at 13, but trading for OBJ could be an option as well. So I want you guys to let me know, who do you guys think wins this trade? Do you think it's Cleveland or do you think it's San Francisco? Go ahead and comment your votes down in the comment section. We're less than a week away, I guess exactly a week away when this video goes up, from the NFL draft. No one's going to have you covered better than us here at Chat Sports. You see the link below. Just hit that big red subscribe button. We were the number 1 watched NFL draft coverage last year on all digital platforms. We plan on doing that again this year. We're live for all 3 rounds, or all 7 rounds for all 3 days. It's like 25 hours of live coverage. You don't want to miss it, starting next Thursday, April 23rd. So join us for the NFL draft by subscribing and turn on that notification bell so you know when we go live. Next trade here coming from John Liu, a Lone Star State trade between quarterbacks. How about this one? Dak Prescott and 2 first-round picks to the Texans for Deshaun Watson. Now, I do think Deshaun Watson has more trade value than Dak Prescott, but does he have 2 first-round picks, including on top of the quarterback himself, more trade value? I don't really know. Last year, statistically, Dak was actually better in most areas. The rating was pretty similar, but the volume was higher in Dak's cases. Granted, they were trailing in a lot of football games, the Cowboys were, so a lot of that was garbage. But look, these are 2 good young quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson is one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL behind Patrick Mahomes and maybe Lamar Jackson. I do think he has more trade value, but I think it's a fair question to ask. Who is the better quarterback? If you think it's Deshaun Watson, type DW. If you think it's Dak Prescott, go ahead and type DP. I'll make this the pinned comment on today's video, so go ahead and scroll on down and answer this question. Next question coming in from Lau Zalazar. I think that's correct. Go ahead and correct me in the comments if it's not, Lau. Cowboys trade again here. So they get Jamal Adams and a 2nd-round pick from the Jets, but they have to send Amari Cooper and Xavier Woods to the Jets. This doesn't really make a lot of sense because the Cowboys aren't going to give Amari Cooper $100 million and then trade him. Plus, if you're the Jets, why would you send away Adams and a second-round pick when you're looking to get a first-round pick? Sure, maybe Amari Cooper's worth a first-round pick, and they would just draft a receiver anyway, but I don't think the Jets are going to take that deal. One of the best safeties in the game, strong safeties in the game, and Adams. I think Dallas is happy with Amari Cooper. They're going to keep him for the foreseeable future. Obviously, Adams would be a great fit in Dallas' secondary. I think he would be an upgrade from either Clinton Dix or Xavier Woods at either safety spot. Cowboys need cornerback help as well. The Jamal Adams trade rumors to Dallas aren't going away. I just don't think this is the type of package that it's going to take. I think you're looking for a first-round pick, maybe a future first as well or something like that. I don't think it's going to be a player-for-player type of swap in the end, Lau Salazar. What I want to let you know is, A, we're a week away from the draft, and B, you should get a draft hat because of it. Your favorite teams, we got styles, very different styles, flat bills, we got the snapbacks, fitted, we got the baseball curve bill style as well. You got to go to this link, chatsports.com/NFL draft hat. Pretty much every single team has released their draft hats, and we've got them available for you guys. So go to that link, chatsports.com/NFL draft hat. It'll be in the comments. It'll be in the description. Just click on it. Boom. It'll get you to the Fanatics page, and you can shop today. Let's go to Jordan's trade idea between the Browns and Jaguars surrounding Yannick Ngakoue. He continues to be linked to trade rumors, obviously. So the Browns get Ngakoue and the 20th overall pick in this year's draft. The Jags get the 10th overall pick, a third-round pick, and a fourth-round pick. I actually think this is okay value. I think the Jags would want a little more, maybe like a future fifth or something like that, but they get to move up 10 spots and get a third and fourth on top of it. I think that's a pretty good haul for a player who's begging to be traded. Ngakoue is really good. He wants out of Jacksonville, though, and when players make it public that they want out, their trade value goes down. That's just how this works. So if Jacksonville can move up 10 slots in the first round and pick up a couple of extra picks in the process, I think that's a pretty good trade overall. So grade this trade from Jordan, A, B, C, D, or F. I think it's in the B+ range. I think it's a good deal for both sides. Cleveland gets a pass rusher opposite of Myles Garrett, and Jacksonville moves up 10 spots in the first round and gets a couple of middle round picks as well. I think it's a good trade in the end. Let's go to Dan F's trade proposal, another Yannick Ngakoue trade, and Trent Williams. This is kind of a blockbuster here. Jags get the number 2 pick and Trent Williams, while Washington gets the number 9 pick and Yannick Ngakoue. This is very interesting because typically you would say, man, the number 2, you get to move up from 9 to 2. But I think it's possible because Ngakoue might have similar trade value or production value than like a Chase Young, and we don't know what Chase Young is necessarily. Ngakoue is a proven commodity in the NFL, so I think it's a possibility. I think it could make some sense. We do know that Trent Williams wants out of Washington and that they are letting him explore a trade. His value has gone down since missing all of last season. He would be a major boost to any offensive line, the Jaguars or the Chargers. We'll get to the Chargers trade proposal in just a little bit. But I think in the end, this is an interesting trade. I'm not sure Washington would give up the number 2 pick to do it, but I think it's interesting to say the least because they would get number 9 in return. Who gets traded first? Both these guys want out of their current situations. Do you think it's Trent Williams or do you think it's Yannick Ngakoue? Type TW for Trent Williams, type YN for Yannick Ngakoue, and let me know down below. Speedy's trade proposal surrounding Trent Williams is another kind of player-for-player swap with day 3 picks. Desmond King, the cornerback from the Chargers, going to Washington, along with a 5th and 7th round pick, and then a 6th round pick going to the Chargers. They don't have one this year, Speedy, so I had to give them a 2021 6th round pick along with Trent Williams. This makes a little bit more sense because the Chargers need offensive line help. They've needed it for a while now. They did not protect Phillip Rivers last year. Desmond King didn't play as well in 2019 as he did in 2018 when he was an all-pro for the Los Angeles Chargers. Didn't have an interception this past year, wasn't as good, but he's still one of the better young defensive backs in the NFL. 51 tackles, a couple of pass breakups, but like I said, did not have an interception, whereas he had 3 back in 2018. So let me know, who do you guys think wins this trade, Washington or LAC? I actually think it's both, right? Like, the Redskins get a nice defensive back, and they get a 5th and a 7th, and the Chargers get a much-needed offensive line. The Chargers secondary is loaded, so they can move on from a Desmond King if that means they get an anchor at left tackle in Trent Williams. I think this works for both sides. I actually like this Trent Williams trade a little bit better than the last one. All right, this is the content I'm looking for. These are the proposals I'm asking for when we do these videos. 3-team trades, baby. Producer Brett Scott, we had to move some graphics around to get this going because there's a lot going on here. So here's Daniel Shegog, Dolphins, Bengals, Jaguars. So stick with me here. Miami gets the number 1 overall pick from Cincinnati and a second-round pick from Jacksonville, number 42 overall. The Bengals move down from number 1 to number 5, and they pick up the Jags the number 9 overall pick, and Jacksonville gets both of Miami's later first-round picks, 18 and 26. So basically, Jacksonville slides from 9 to 18 and 26 and also gives up 42. So it makes sense from their perspective as well. I think the only problem here is I think Cincinnati would want a little bit more. Otherwise, this is actually not a bad trade. Like, if you gave Cincinnati a future first on top of this, I think it works, to be quite honest with you, Daniel. Obviously, with the number 1 and the number 5 pick being in play, I think that play is for Miami to go up and get Joe Burrow. Maybe they're not sold on Tua Tagovailoa. Maybe Cincinnati is, and they'd rather slide down and take Tua number 5 overall. That could be an option for them. I don't expect Cincinnati to trade down from number 1. I know there's been slight chatter that could be a possibility. I don't expect that to happen. Tua's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. If he's healthy, I think he's as good of a prospect as Burrow. He just has too many injuries. Hip surgery. He had ankle issues at Alabama. He had a wrist injury at one point. I think it's fair to say the kid is injury prone. I hope he pans out. He's fun as hell to watch. He just hadn't been able to stay healthy nearly enough. But grade this trade for me, A, B, C, D, or F. I'll give it like a B-. It's not terrible because I think if you just threw another first to Cincinnati, I actually don't hate it. I really don't. So I'll give it a B-. I think it's a decent trade proposal. 3-team trades are hard to put together. So I'll commend you, Daniel, for putting this one together. Indiana Jones is watching the show. Greatly appreciate that. He's got more of a simple trade. Pittsburgh gets Mitchell Trubisky for a 4th-round pick, number 124, going back to Chicago in the trade. This kind of feels like the value for Trubisky, right? A late 3rd, early 4th. I think that's kind of what an offer would look like if the Bears were to shop the young quarterback. Pittsburgh doesn't have a long-term answer at quarterback. Big Ben's coming back. We'll see if he can fit into a helmet with his current status with that beard, but they're hoping he can come back and play for a couple of years. But I think we saw last year, Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges, they're not the answer. Paxton Lynch, JT Barrett, that ain't happening. So Trubisky there could make some sense. Learn under Big Ben for a couple of years, and then maybe he's your starting quarterback after that in Pittsburgh. At the very least, he is an upgrade at the backup spot over Mason Rudolph. What should the Bears do with Mitchell Trubisky? Type K for keep or type T for trade. Go ahead and cast your votes down in the comments section. Let's go to Paul. This is his trade proposal, maybe the most simplest one yet. Running back for wide receiver. Kenyon Drake up to Detroit. Arizona gets Marvin Jones Jr. On the surface, I think the value is pretty close here because running backs aren't as valuable, even though I think Drake's a little bit better of a player at this point in his career. Marvin Jones has been a solid number 2 wide receiver for Detroit, though. Last 2 years, almost 1,000 yards in each of those seasons. He's pretty good in the red zone. He's getting a little bit older. I think he's approaching 30 now. But Kenyon Drake really burst onto the scenes with Arizona in his 8 games last year. Averaged well over 4 yards a carry. He had 8 rushing touchdowns, had 171 receiving yards as well. I think he's the perfect fit in Arizona's offense with Kyler Murray, with Cliff Kingsbury. They like to run a lot of screens, and Kenyon Drake's really good at that. So I don't think they will do that, especially since they did trade for DeAndre Hopkins. The receiver position is in pretty good shape overall for the Arizona Cardinals, but thanks to everybody for submitting their trades on today's show.